All right, folks, welcome to our Election Night coverage 2024 right here on the Black Star Network. This is a live look at Howard University on the yard there where Vice President Kamala Harris will speak tonight. Our hope is that she will be speaking as the president-elect of the United States of America. Polls are closing all across the country. There have been some issues. We'll get to that in a second. We got, of course, a packed house here in our Black Star Network studios on Black Lives Matter Plaza in Washington, D.C. We got a number of our panelists here. You often see these folks on the show, so we got them assembled here. We got a combination of our Coverage Plus and election watch party as well. And so glad to have all of you here. I talked about some issues we've already seen. Russia has been calling in bomb threats in Georgia, specifically as it relates to black precincts.
Over the last few hours, there were continued threats in Georgia, 17 polling precincts to be exact. So, we at the NAACP sounded the alarm after we heard from elected officials that this was happening, and it was targeted at black precincts in Fulton County, targeted at black precincts in DeKalb County. But it was a targeted attempt by actors outside the United States. I believe the Secretary of State identified it as Russian interference. We still don't know which bad actors it was, but it was definitely targeted at predominantly black precincts with the hope of suppressing the vote. So
they were specifically targeting black precincts. And so we know Russia was helping Donald Trump in 2016 and 20. And so they are scared to death of a massive black turnout today for Vice President Kamala Harris.
Yeah, you know, as the NAACP, we're nonpartisan, but we are very political, and we want to make sure the political power of black people is felt in this state. As it goes across the state, it's called the Black Belt. And as the Black Belt goes the rest of the state. And if the turnout is as high as I think it is, you will see Georgia not only turn blue, because it didn't turn blue the first time, it turned black, and I believe it will stay black. We just need to wait. Hopefully the numbers will be in by 11 to 12 o'clock. I see some people prematurely trying to grade where Georgia is. If you don't have the Metro and the Black Belt reporting, you don't know what Georgia's going to do. It turned late. I believe it'll turn late again.
Democrats have been turning out in huge numbers. We're also paying attention to the state of Iowa. Over the weekend, of course, the poll dropped showing that Vice President Kamala Harris was plus 3 points against Donald Trump in Iowa. So there are multiple pathways to her to get to 270 Electoral College votes. That's when she can declare victory. And so we're paying attention to all of that to understand what is going on. Now, Jonathan Martin with Politico earlier tweeted that his sources were saying that if suburban women outside of Philadelphia do what they do, they're definitely going to win Pennsylvania. Also, we've been seeing reports of massive Latino turnout in Pennsylvania as well. Now, remember, 500,000 Puerto Ricans live in Pennsylvania. And that comment at that Donald Trump hate fest at Madison Square Garden really ticked off a number of those folks. And so we're seeing Latino voters, not just Puerto Ricans, really speak about what took place. And so we're watching that. And also keep in mind, some places will not be finished tabulating tonight. Remember, you've got overseas ballots they're watching out as for. So what you're talking about there, if you have states that are very close, those ballots, provisional ballots, are going to be key as well. Now, so what you've seen is a candidate really grow and build over the last 2 weeks of the campaign. And you compare that to Donald Trump, where they got more evil and crazy. Last night, you had J.D. Vance literally calling Vice President Harris trash. And so after they already criticized Puerto Rico, then they actually made that comment there. So, I mean, you've seen a whole lot of drama come out of that campaign. And already I saw a tweet earlier, which I had to laugh at because Donald Trump is already alleging that there are vote issues in Pennsylvania. Now, and then here's what's crazy. A Republican had to smack him down from that by saying that they weren't seeing that. He even said law enforcement is on the way. When you're already talking about folks cheating, that means you're losing. And so we'll be, again, watching all of that.
That's what it's like. It's a party here. I mean, they were playing the wobble earlier, the song talking about back back it up, let me tell you, if I back it up, I'm going to fall off this riser. There are so many people here. The mood is full of excitement here. And, you know, really, it's a perfect night. There is not a cloud in the sky. The temperature couldn't be better. It is a great day and night for a U.S. presidential election. And earlier we saw some students coming onto campus, presumably to be part of the revelry that is just starting to happen behind me. Staffers getting in position. And, of course, security has this place locked down for the vice president. Not only that, there is a massive media presence here. We have local journalists, we have national journalists, reporters and television producers from around the world. The Harris team, of course, hoping that this will be an historic night for her, for the campaign. As for, and she was told that basically it's going to come together however it comes together. But it has been, like I said, an excellent mood. People have been happy to help with everything. There have been a couple of logistical challenges, especially for us journalists, but so far everyone extremely helpful, extremely happy.
Last 72 hours, and you can really tell the change in how the vice president, how she's walked, how she's talked. You can see it in her tone, in her face, in terms of the rising confidence the closer we got to this election.
Well, so far, the numbers that we've seen over the last week and a half with early voting across the country has been really good for Kamala Harris. Not only that, but it was very good today to see the number of young people on college campuses in Wisconsin, in Pennsylvania, in North Carolina, who are standing in lines. And unfortunately, some of these lines are 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, but they're staying in line. There's lots of pizza, there's lots of donuts. Celebrities are showing up, DJs are showing up because they are excited about these first-time voters who are going to be crucial tonight.
She's not made a single misstep as it pertains to including people that are not a part or normally a part of our profile when we talk about who are our coalition. And we see the work already, even though the numbers are early. We see in states that we are expected to win easily, and those that we are expected to win narrowly, we see her outperforming the other guy, the orange guy on the other side, in spaces that we didn't do in 2020. We also see younger black men. In Georgia, for instance, black men are the youngest voting population right now. That is a guaranteed victory for us if we continue on this path. The idea that young black men that lean heavily Democratic are already casting votes, or votes have already been counted, that means that we're just waiting on our base to show up, and we know damn well we're going to slide through.
And brothers are showing up like they've always shown up. But you got to make sure that you are spending the time, make sure that you are hearing them, and that you are honoring the requests that's in that space. So I'm excited about this moment, that folks are finally starting to actually pay attention to what brothers are asking for, and that we're going to continue to make sure that we're moving forward, both up and down the ticket, because...
and I was messing with Brittany over there. She's like, yes. She's like, my generation is voting. And I literally said, Brittany, by damn time.
I'm Gen Z, and we're fired up. We sure are. On TikTok this past week, Donald Trump's Access Hollywood tape was trending, and you're talking about a generation of people who were 10 years old when this came out. So we've never heard the Grab 'em tape in full. We didn't know his rhetoric, but now we're hearing it, and we're being exposed, and we're asking our parents, and especially the fathers in the community, how could you vote for someone who talks like this? What if he was talking about your daughter? What if he was talking about your wife? So we're ready. We're ready. We're engaged now.
But also, that hate rally, someone called it Hate Palooza at Madison Square Garden. Again, that Texas comedian, a so-called comedian, that joke about Puerto Rico.
A lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right.
Pissed off a lot of Latinos.
I mean, listen, he got Bad Bunny, Jennifer Lopez, and Ricky Martin, probably the trilogy of Puerto Rican musical acts.
Mark Anthony was blasting at every concert. Fat Joe was going off.
All on one page united within an hour, coming out swinging heavily for Vice President Harris at Hatechella. I mean, they took it so far at Hatechella to have, Byron Donalds walk out to Dixie.
Terrible.
But the thing is this, for some of us, you know, it's been a decade of fighting against Donald Trump's racism, against Donald Trump's hatred. You know, for me, you know, people say, you know, I say, look, y'all voted against Donald Trump 3 times, I voted against him 6 times. So I voted against him 3 times in the primaries. And so for me, this has been a fight from June 2015, and hopefully this is the last time we have to deal with this.
But you highlighted about some of the issues relating to Haitians and Puerto Ricans. Over the last couple of weeks, the Trump administration, they've been basically committing political suicide. And as someone who lives in the state, Central, South Florida in particular, Haitians and Puerto Ricans are, I say upset, but I could use another word, but we're on television right now, I don't want to get myself in trouble. But it has had an impact, and even see it in my home state of Pennsylvania. We're hearing the Puerto Ricans, and, you know, and I'm from Philadelphia, you're hearing Puerto Ricans in Philadelphia have turned out record numbers. But you're right, Roland, in terms of what they did, it really did have an impact. You know, my wife's family is Jamaican. So when they talked about Haitians.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Jamaicans and all the other, you know, individuals from, you know, from the Caribbean are quite upset. And so once again, you've galvanized a population that was more likely to vote for those who are, you know, low information voters we talk about a lot. You've now, those folks will make sure they come out and vote because the blatant racism was clear. So I think that Madison Square Garden, the comedian and some of the other comments after that made it clear who those comments were directed.
Oh, yeah. Before I go to the next poll, it is a question of when you start looking at these different states, Erica, it comes down to infrastructure. What is your ground game? Yeah. In Pennsylvania, for instance, there was a massive ground game for the vice president. She spent a lot of time there yesterday, hitting 3 cities, rallying. They knocked on almost 1 million doors in Pennsylvania. And at the end of the day, that's how elections are won. It's absolute ground game.
Yeah. So it was very smart of the Harris-Walz campaign to understand that they had to really penetrate the ground game. I heard a number earlier today, 90,000 people, 3 million doors that were knocked over the past weekend. That's the type of infrastructure that we need. Monique talked about Win with Black Women. Roland, you had Win with Black Men. All of these coalitions that were week after week engaging people, texting people, letting people know how they can get engaged. The way that we win campaigns is letting people know how they can be involved. People are waiting to be activated, and so understanding that Pennsylvania, Michigan, and the slow state of Wisconsin and Milwaukee, understanding that those are places that really need to have the touch, need to be touched, not just once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, is something that was very smart on the part of the Harris-Walz campaign. And I agree with you, Dr. Carr, is now we're going to see if all of the work that we have done that has been done by those unsung heroes will actually get us to 271st.
It's also
I have been yelling and screaming for years, telling people that California is not going to look the same in 2028. As a Black person living in Southern California, the one thing that you know is don't go to Orange County. I'm not kidding. There was a white supremacist group that was just apprehended in North Hollywood, and I lived in Hollywood for over 20 years, and North Hollywood is right over the freeway. It's 10 minutes away. So you're talking about white supremacists 10 minutes away from Hollywood. I need people to understand that, right? And it wasn't just white folks. It was also Latino folks involved, you know, in that major arrest. And over the years, I've seen it. There are some strongholds that are anti-democratic outside of Orange County, and it's just spreading and spreading and spreading. I'll never forget one day I was at the gym. I will never forget this, right up the street from my house on Sunset Boulevard. This man came into the gym dressed in MAGA from head to toe. Oh, wow. In Hollywood, up the street from West Hollywood. So we ran him up out of there, but my point being is in 2020, started to see people inching into areas that were once Democratic strongholds, right? And you have the top north of California that are Republican. A lot of the Silicon Valley folks, right? You have Orange County, and then you have folks meeting in the middle. California will not look the same in 2028, mark my words. And none of this is a guarantee, right? Even the canvassing that I did in North Carolina, I encountered, you know, Black Trumpers, and they told me what they needed to tell me to my face just to get rid of me. Right. So we don't know how much of the people on the ground that we're encountering are telling us the truth just to get rid of us. So none of this is a guarantee, and but I will say the work has been done. Yes, it has. The sweat equity has been put in. So we'll see, to Greg's point, what will it look like?
But I also marijuana smoke and people hiding their blunts, and I'm like, no. I'm here to talk to you.
Right.
How are you? How are you doing? What's life look like? And I'm telling you, these brothers, these women are like, oh my gosh, somebody like you is coming to talk to me. Absolutely, I'm coming to talk to you because you're making the difference, not just in my life, but in our collective lives. When those people got engaged, to see men, to see women who were in the trap, jumping up and down, going to the Secretary of State's website, right there on the spot, seeing that they actually were registered to vote, and then actually going to go and vote. Those are the types of things that need to be happening. Not one things that Republicans always do is not only do they aspire and they are masters of their craft because they aspire to continue to be masters as they were in the slave trade, they are the masters of pivoting. So to your point, what we are seeing now, it'll just roll up and look like something very different, but Democrats don't have to have celebrities, and shout out to all the celebrities, but there does not have to be all of this over-the-top engagement if we are talking to our number one and number two, that being black women and black men. That's the number one voting bloc in the Democratic Party. If we're at
and that is Republicans understand how to form narratives.
Talk about it,
First.
Roland.
Second of all, you have a very sophisticated Republican media ecosystem.
Yes.
So
It's about the ground game.
hold tight
but
1 second, hold on. Pennsylvania, folks, the vote counting center in Pennsylvania has been evacuated due to a bomb threat. And so that's what's going on. And again,
I feel like this is
look, we told you about Russian interest. They desperately want Donald Trump to win. And so the fact that you're seeing bomb threats in multiple states is happening across the board. So
there's a thing on Clubhouse, winning Clubhouse instead of winning in real life. For a lot of them, it's winning conservative media rather than winning in real life.
Except this is real life.
Yeah.
These goddamn white supremacists are going to be the end of this experiment.
No, speaking of that, the abortion amendment in Florida has failed.
Yeah.
In Florida, they're leaving in place their 6-week ban, and of course,
did they give you a percentage? Because they had to meet a super. Well, no, it had to be 6% to pass, but maybe a majority voted for it. In other words,
58.4.
Exactly.
Wow.
There it is. These goddamn white supremacists. Understand this.
So yeah, 95% of the ballot is there were 10,935,000 votes cast. 6.3 million yes. Again, 58.4%. No, 41.7%.
And that, Roland, thank you, because therein lies the end of this funky ass settler place. Let me explain it. That is the logic of the Electoral College.
Hold tight 1 second. Also another race, folks. We now have our 5th black female United States Senator in history.
Wow.
So in Maryland, Angela also Brooks has been projected the winner in Maryland, beating a former 2-term governor, Larry Hogan.
Donald Trump is mentally ill. He's got all these problems. He's convicted felon. Of course, he could vote in Florida because in New York, convicted felons who are not in jail can vote. This country is faced with the problem that we've known all along. This is white supremacy. This shouldn't even be close. This is a multiracial, multi-class, good-feeling, competent. I mean, I read something today that it shocked me, and I'm embarrassed to say I didn't know this. The only person running on the top of a national ticket who has served in all 3 branches of government is Kamala Harris. This shouldn't even be close. This man is a sexual assaulting piece of garbage. And I'm going to use that word tonight the way it should be used. The point is this. The fact that this is close just scared the shit out of us.
Since the founding of this country, we have been dealing with the same people. Make no mistake, it is the same people. And it's a systemic failure by thinking, oh, they're just fringe element, on the fringe, and they're just conspiracy theorists. No, they have never been dealt with. They have never been dealt with. They have had carte blanche to own as many weapons as they want, to have as much property as they want. They have had carte blanche in this country since the founding of this country, and I'm tired of it. My family has been here before the founding of America. Okay? And it has been the same people. It is enough is enough.
Enough is
Right.
enough.
And that, which is why I have rightfully called him on this network who he is. He's the son of a Klansman. And I'm glad that New York, unfortunately, got to see in the 21st century at Madison Square Garden,
A Nazi rally.
the son of a Klansman produced a Klan rally in New York, not in Georgia, not in Alabama, not in South Carolina, not in North Carolina, right there in New York. This is what we have always been up against.
But I mean, the tragedy of it is, it's not disqualifying.
Right.
Exactly.
Never has been. Never has been.
Up to here. And again, what they're monitoring, if he keeps losing ground in suburban counties with that black turnout,
That's right.
May not win Georgia. Now, if you look at New York Times and the Hill and the rest of these people, they're predicting Trump a 61% chance of still winning.
Right.
New York Times is predicting 278 electoral college votes, but they're factoring in him winning Georgia, North Carolina, and one of the blue wall states. At the end of the day, just like in 2016, this election will come down again to that blue wall. At the end, she wins Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. She wins. If she's able to flip one of these, North Carolina or Georgia, we'll see. Trump spent a considerable amount of time closing in North Carolina, but Georgia. Let's see, will black folks come through in massive numbers? And then those suburban votes, Georgia, so it actually may come down to Georgia as well.
Why haven't the streets been more engaged? You have the preachers, you have the pimps, you have the businessmen, you have the thugs, you got the drug dealers. All of them can vote too if their rights are still there. So what are we doing to engage all of these parts of our community, even the ones we don't want to talk about, but we know they're in our families? They're also a part of the community.
Howard University, this is a live shot of what's happening on the campus there. It is jam-packed as folks are awaiting election results. They are, of course, hoping to see the first HBCU graduate become president of the United States, the first female president of the United States. And, of course, AKA is a real hopeful that they will have one of their own as president of the United States. And so it's already jam-packed. They have shut down the campus for the entire week, getting ready for this night. Again, when you look at the map already, and people are sort of freaking out, understand typically many of your red states come in first, places like Indiana, places like Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi. But, of course, those critical battleground states. Well, right to it. Look, listen, people are sitting in Texas. They're sitting here. I'm in Congo. They're nervous. They're like, oh, my God, what's going on? And I'm like, okay, everybody got to breathe. At the end of the day, voters have the opportunity. You got to count ballots. There were lots of lines, long lines, and so you just got to just chill and wait.
Yeah, this is the reason why we offered a bunch of free yoga classes this week. Because folks are freaking out, and this is just part of the process. And I'm really nervous for a lot of the younger voters, first-timers who are really watching this whole process. And it's like, oh my gosh, you know, he's won 2 states, and they think it's going to be over. But I think this is important for all of us who have been doing this work to really use this as a teachable moment for so many people out there, because this is just a process. And we understand that Election day is not really election day. It could be election week, election month, depending on what's going on. We got people in some of these other states that are going to try to pull some shenanigans with Trump's little secret to try to get to what's going to happen with December 11th and all this electoral college stuff they're going to try to play games with. So I think that people have to be patient and still stay engaged in the process.
That blue wall is critical. It was critical for Hillary Clinton in 2016. It didn't happen. Donald Trump won by 77,000 votes in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Vice President Harris and her team hope that that's not the case in 2024.
Well, we have seen a double turnout. 500,000 is probably going to be the margin of the increase that we will see in Pennsylvania. And I think that is a lot because of the energy. It is the hope. It is the messaging that the Harris campaign has put on the ground game. But also the engagement. And I think a lot of that is what we're just going to see overnight. Pennsylvania is going to win. We have 67 counties. Philadelphia and Pittsburgh is one of the top priorities. We just had 2 concerts there yesterday where Kamala showed up at the same exact time. And I think that was amazing in itself, right? How do you get, you know, if you're driving 5 hours, but she also took a flight. So it was 40 minutes, but she came there, she resonated, and the people that were there to support her. So I think, you know, the amount of energy and the amount of turnout that we've seen that we haven't seen in the previous elections outside of this one is really going to show a difference.
Michael.
This was billed as a watch party, as I said earlier, and it certainly is. I mean, in between when you're hearing the DJ behind me, results are obviously coming in. You're discussing it there in the studio. But when they do come in, the organizers are cutting the DJ. They're putting CNN on the big screen, and they're sharing the results with the people who are here in the yard tonight. And not surprisingly, when news comes in that Harris has won a state like Michigan or Pennsylvania, the crowd absolutely goes wild when it hears that former President Donald Trump has won a state like Florida. Of course, there are boos and jeers. Not a shocker, but it's been a whirlwind presidential campaign for her, and it will all come to an end very soon. She's essentially been running for 3 months compared to Donald Trump, who has been running for about 9 years. So the big question on everyone's mind here at Howard University and across the nation is who's going to win. And while it's still too early to tell, you know, anything can happen in a race like this, Roland. And you know that, I know that. I am no predictor of elections. That is not my job here tonight, Roland, but things are close. The crowd is on edge. They're taking the wins when they get them. This party definitely underway. It's formally started. We have, so far tonight, it's been a very unified vibe. People are excited. They're looking forward to what's happening next. But as you know, Roland, it's not over till it's over.
When we look at what's going on here, again, probably I would say, Avis, as I said to Congo, the thing I would say to anybody is calm the hell down. I mean, votes got to be counted. If you did everything that you could, if you call, if you phone bank, if you canvass, if you push stuff out on social media, then it really comes down to the voters. And the people keep hitting me, and I'm like, yo, why you been anxious, nervous, and freaking all out? I mean, you just have to wait.
Absolutely. And here's what they need to remember, right? The most populous areas, obviously, it's the most votes.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a little while. Yeah. And I tell you, I'm very excited to hear about people still in line in Charlotte, because we know what Charlotte was like, okay? And that tells me that something powerful is happening in North Carolina. You know, if we end this night with a North Carolina for Kamala Harris, you know, I think that could be the beginning of a blue wave that nobody's really expecting tonight. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen. But just like you said, we need to be a little patient. It's going to come in.
Scott?
Yeah, you know, if she wins North Carolina, that takes a lot of pressure off the blue wall.
Yes.
Right. And Trump is going to have to find another way to 270, and there's not as much pressure. I mean, Roland and I were together with some of you all in 2016, and it started off the same way. When the first blue wall state fell, right? When it fell, that's the first time we got real nervous that we were going to have Trump in the White House. But before then, we were pretty festive. Things were going the way they were supposed to go. He won Florida. Remember, the red states count better than the blue states. They just do it more efficient. Exactly. So that they could make an argument of voter fraud down the line. I mean, and understand the strategy of theirs, which is voter suppression, voter legal arguments. What's more important is this time, though, the Trump administration isn't in office, but the Democrats are in office. They've never won a lawsuit, election day fraud and what have you, and so that's going in our favor. But we got to win big. You know, if it's close, we're going to fight for 30-plus days. And if it gets to the Supreme Court, they're no friends of ours, historically. They just aren't, guys. And so I hope that black men came out and voted. I think you're right, Roland, about the patience piece. And I also think that if she flips North Carolina or another state, that takes the pressure off the blue wall.
And we're not going to know, I think probably the closer we get to midnight to see how this shapes up, and then we'll see if those black counties in Georgia, if they're able to come roaring through as they normally are late. Yeah. And so usually when it's about 70, 75% of the ballots in, all of a sudden, that's when CP time works for us. Because those black votes, they kick in, and all of a sudden, you see that lead just going down, 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 down. And so, and that's the thing. And so, again, you do all you can, and you have to wait to see what the results are.
Well, like, what did they say last week? Keep Kamala and carry Angela. So I think that's what we need to start saying to everybody before we start cussing them out.
North Carolina, 51% of the votes are in, but you're seeing how close it is. Harris down by less than 80,000 votes. Of course, Biden lost this state by 2.5 points in 2020. And so again, we're seeing what happens in those black counties. That is not a large margin there when you talk about North Carolina. A lot of votes that are still out. And so again, that's tight as well. And so you look. So again, you can, if you win Georgia or North Carolina, you can lose a Wisconsin and still win, or lose a Michigan, because when you look at the electoral college map. And so let's look at. I was looking at some sides. It's real early there. Only 26% of the vote in Pennsylvania is showing Harris up 55-43. But again, that's very early.
Again, as I mentioned earlier, there's going to be a lot of shenanigans that are going to be going on between now and January 6th that are going to involve the House. And Mike Johnson, who was one of the architects of the original Stop the Steal work that they were doing, he's had 4 years to plot with Trump about what they were going to do right now. And so when Trump talks about we got something else planned, we got to believe that. And so I think there can be a lot going on right now. And so I'm really hoping that a lot of our people are going to come through as some of these other polls close and some of these other things with these bomb threats and other. But we also have people who are in these polls and who are watching the count, who are shady people, who are insurrectionists, who are Stop the Steal people, who are all of that. And so they got plans behind the plans, right? And I think that it's important that we got our poll watchers out there, that we got our lawyers on tap right now as well, because we're going to need to fight this every single way and every single day. Even if she takes everything tonight, it's not going to end. Our number one thing is to stop anything from getting to the Supreme Court, right? And so the more things we can stop up front, the less we have to worry about.
One of the reasons that it's really close is that there are a large number of white, male, uneducated voters, low propensity and strong propensity, white, male, uneducated voters in Pennsylvania that are keeping those numbers tight. That's really it.
Why does it fascinate you? Everybody knows that Pennsylvania. No.
Gender
they are uneducated. They are broke.
And
they
Trump
are broke,
men,
uneducated white people. They are rural white people. Literally, if you go through Pennsylvania, Teresa, you know this. You go through Pennsylvania. Once you get outside of Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, the suburbs, you seeing red. No, white people have been voting against their economic interests since the end of slavery. They have been. And so we have to understand that whiteness is real and the culture of whiteness is real. And so Trump pushes their buttons. People who literally lost their family farms but still said they're going to vote for Trump. You're like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm sorry. I need somebody to show me a Republican agenda that actually positively impacts the working class. It doesn't. But we're like, but that's my man. What the hell?
Exactly. Exactly.
And I think one of the guests said it last.
They don't need to be studied. They white.
I think just the obsession with white supremacy, and this is obviously a global phenomenon.
No, what it is right now is they are. What's happening right now? All of the talk, all you keep saying, they are deathly afraid of the nation becoming a nation of majority people of color. And so
but if all you have, the only power you have is being white. I mean, that is it, because you are not doing well financially. You don't have a great job. You need to blame someone else. So the reason why you don't have a job, according to Trump and his cronies, is because of the immigrants have taken your job. And they're going to take your black jobs too, right? And so they create this, they create a fear, and they also create this, it's not your fault. You are not failing in America. It's somebody else's fault. And it makes them feel good about themselves. So it is all about whiteness and protecting whiteness, because the lowest black man, as we've always talked about, feels as if he's better than the most educated, successful black man.
Right. That's
And,
that
and they
narrative.
don't want to let go of that.
And divide and conquer has always worked.
And it has always
That's why it works in Alabama. That's why it works in Pennsylvania. And so, you know, there's bad news, you're poor, but there's good news, you're white.
Yeah, let's talk about white.
So we're better than somebody, right? We're better.
Trump is a representation of the whiteness that they want to be, right?
Yes.
So, but for
but-
those who are uneducated and you know, it's aspirational.
Well,
That's
and
exactly
I
what it
think
is.
also when we're having this conversation about whiteness, you do have to factor in, because I'm looking at, and again, I'm not sold on exit polls at all. But when you NBC, according to their exit poll data, that 53% Latino voters are breaking for Harris, 45% for Trump. In 2020, it was 65% Latinos for Biden, 32% for Trump. And I've said this, somebody who's from Texas, and I understand it, there are white Hispanics.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Who
we
believe they're white.
And we have to understand,
Certainly white adjacent.
when Trump has been talking about immigration, you got a lot of Latinos who are like,
That's
send
not-
ass back.
Right.
So, I mean, and so,
But I mean, even the whole Puerto Rico trash, the whole comedian thing, I mean, I don't think that deterred a whole lot of them, right? I think it was nice to have J-Lo and all these other people kind of come out against.
Well,
but I think you go.
So it's 9:44. They're calling Virginia for Vice President Kamala Harris. And so again, that was one of those. If you got past 10 o'clock and you got to 10:30, you got a little nervous.
Yeah.
And so again, that bodes well for. Well, that bodes well because now again you start looking at the blue wall. I just saw Trump could. Said Trump could win Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, North Carolina, and still not get to 270.
Right.
And so again, the blue wall, it has to hold.
Right, sure,
and again,
sure.
if you're the Harris campaign, you're really paying attention to Georgia.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Decision Desk has called North Carolina for Trump. Other people are contesting that because they say 10% of Mecklenburg County, where Charlotte is only in. It's like how you call the state in. So we're watching that. And so again, this could come down to Georgia. It could come down to Georgia, again, if she doesn't win those three, one of those three blue wall states. Welcome back to our 2024 election coverage here on the Black Star Network. Folks are anxious, nervous. I'm not. Again, if you watch this show and you pay any attention to the last several election cycles, you will understand that we have close elections. You will understand how many times have I said on this show, margins, 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 margins. Here's a live shot of the crowd there at Howard University. I was seeing some reports, they said they can feel the anxiety there. But y'all, it's only 10:04 p.m.
Come on.
And so understand, maybe they should have flipped that script, that screen at the Kamala Harris Howard University party to the Black Star Network instead of CNN, then they might calm the hell down.
Real talk.
Perfect example, Georgia. There's a 210,000 vote margin right now in Georgia. And so it could be more. And so, again, you have to wait, calm down, and relax. Our elections have been razor thin. It's been margins in 2020. Even though that was with COVID, it was what, less than 12,000 in Georgia, 10,000 in Arizona, 20,000 in Wisconsin. Go to 2016, Trump literally wins by 77,000 votes in 3 states: Michigan by 10,000, Wisconsin by 10,000, and then of course what happened in Pennsylvania. And so this idea that this is going to be an NFL game, you're going to be blowing folks out in the first half, that just doesn't exist. And this is also what happens when you have a country that uses the electoral college vote, not the popular vote. And for all y'all people out there who can't stand that, well, guess what? Change the Constitution, which means you got to change the House, you got to change the Senate, you got to win the White House. What's the mood? Can you sense it in the air? Are people sort of waiting on pins and needle. I'm quite sure the dancing and the strolling has stopped, and everybody's like, oh, Lord, what the hell is going on?
All of that, Roland, everything you just said and more. I mean, look, this is a party. The DNC sent out an invite earlier this morning. Some 20,000 plus people here waiting to welcome Vice President Kamala Harris. I mean, people here want a party. They want something to rejoice. The mood has been jovial. People have been celebratory. You can actually feel it in the air. But, you know, they might get a positive outcome. But, you know, the numbers are coming in very, very slowly. And as tight as this race has been at this hour, it's really anyone's guess what will happen tonight. Just behind me is where Vice President Harris's friends and close family are expected to sit when she does take to the stage earlier. She's been fighting hard up till the very end. Earlier today, every time that Vice President Harris wins a state, the crowd here goes wild. Every time we hear that former President Donald Trump wins a state, you hear the exact opposite. So, Roland, you talked about pins and needles earlier. That is what's happening here, but people are rejoicing. They have a hopeful attitude. They're in a good mood. But as you know, it's anyone's guess. We're all here watching. We're all here waiting. This race could go either way. And we'll
Why do people work so hard to keep us from voting? Because they know how powerful our vote is. So the gender gap is alive and well, and it always will be, because we live in a patriarchal society where basically womanhood is devalued and manhood is supervalued. I mean, I think I was telling some of y'all sisters in the back about the fist fight I had with my brother in 2016 because the boy voted for Trump and had to Tamara didn't say it at Thanksgiving dinner. And I punched him. But he bigger than me.
But he didn't punch back, though, right?
He punched back. We were rolling around on the floor.
I think that...
Right, so the question is, where are we missing the gap with the young voters from 18 to 29? And when we're talking about the gender gap, we have these men who are on social media being radicalized. We have...
Again, while people are right now losing their mind, even some...
I'm one of the people.
Even some of the dumbasses in our chat, and somebody like, ooh, you can tell Roland's body language has changed. You're an idiot. It hasn't. Here's a perfect example, okay? Everybody's sitting here thinking blowout, blowout. It was driving me crazy when I saw all of that stuff about a blowout.
That's dangerous.
Okay, so folks need to understand, Pennsylvania is going to be close. Yes. Georgia is going to be close. North Carolina is going to be close. Biden lost North Carolina by 2.5 points.
Yeah.
And so, again, I'm not sitting here freaking because the first thing I'm looking at is where are the outstanding ballots? If I'm the Harris campaign and I'm looking at Georgia, it's a lot of black and Democrat
and the
votes.
Republican counties are max. They're at 95%.
And they in bed.
Yeah.
So they turn their shit in.
One of the worst.
So they're at max. No, let me explain that part. People at home, they're at max.
Right.
They're smaller counties. They've already finished counting. So they're done. So if you're sitting here, Trump, Harris, you're looking at, okay, what's outstanding and who are likely my voters. And so right now it's about 210,000 again lead in Georgia. And so the question is, does it break 80-20, 75-25? That's what the party is.
The best thing the Republicans...
The fact, though, is, if Trump wins North Carolina and Georgia, she absolutely has to win Pennsylvania.
Oh, absolutely.
He absolutely has to win Pennsylvania. So my entire evening
Well, she got to win Pennsylvania, Wisconsin,
right, but that's why my entire East Coast attention is on North Carolina and Georgia, because, you know, that kind of tells you right there that she absolutely has to get Pennsylvania. So what we're watching, too, is some Michigan coming in, and it's going, you know, his way, which, of course, doesn't mean anything because it's such a small sample. We also just saw that Trump won Iowa after that poll came out, indicating...
Oh, did he?
Yeah, indicating that he might lose Iowa.
I thought she was going to win Iowa.
There's things like that after everything that we saw for the last 2 weeks, the racism with regard to Puerto Rico, the paying attention to Arnold Palmer's Johnson, all this nonsense, and yet still Donald Trump is in the game, is competitive. I mean, I find that entire overview to be incredible, right? The fact that we're even talking about about this guy being competitive is still shocking to me. It is still shocking to me.
The reason Mustafa,
here we are.
Well, here's the deal. The reason what you now have is you have a rabid base that they don't care. They're going to turn out.
Amen.
Now, on the Democratic side, Democratic voters are actually smarter.
Yep.
The problem with being smarter is sometimes you fucking think too much. and so
the other thing that
so again, Republicans are clear. They are on record. If we restrict voting, we get a better shot at winning.
Yeah.
If voting is expansive, we're guaranteed to lose.
That's what happened to
As we're having this conversation about people coming out and not coming out, we have to continue also this conversation about white women, because it's looking at, once again, you know, all the numbers ain't out yet, but once again, letting folks down. You see,
right? When we get access to the ballot, we vote. And that's the issue. They're trying to make us not vote. But
we don't actually know about white women yet, but what we do know is
I know enough about
what we do know is that Charlie Kirk and Elon Musk ran the ground game for Donald Trump. Now, when I heard that, I thought, okay, this might be a blue wave. I mean, I got a friend that said to me, you know, there could be a way, because those two idiots doing something that they've never worked on before, that told me this could be, you know, a short night. But apparently, maybe it is.
But
Maybe it is white women.
My point is that when all of these...
So I'm looking at various things here, saying numbers coming in good from Detroit. Jonathan Martin is sitting here posting, hard to see how Harris carries Wisconsin at current Dane County margin, which is down. Guys, hold 1 second, your mics are still on, hold on. Is it hard to see how Harris carries Wisconsin at current Dane margin, which is down from Biden's number, 86% reporting from Dane County? So when you're looking at these various states, now you're going on. Again, Georgia, you're looking at 88% reporting, but again, because of the bomb threats, the reporting is delayed in Fulton, DeKalb, in Gwinnett counties. And so then when you look at all of these folks, again, New York Times and the rest of these people, they're all sitting here predicting, you know, a big opportunity for Trump here. Let me go to, looks like, let me go to Ohio, and looks like, well, you know, perfect example of somebody who ran a different race, and looks like he is going to lose. So Sherrod Brown is down 5 points in Ohio. And so so Republicans hold that, then they will control the Senate outright if they win that. Democrats desperately needed that seat in Ohio, and so a very strong progressive voice. Looks like that's 85% reporting, and he's down by 240,000 votes. So it look like Brown is going to be losing the Senate race in Ohio. Again, we're looking at these states again. We're back to 2016, where it's likely going to be, does the blue wall hold? As it stands right now, 57% of the votes are in Wisconsin. Trump has a 31,000, go to my iPad, a 31,000 vote lead in Wisconsin. And so that's where that stands. But again, this is according to New York Times, 57% of the votes are in. We still are looking at North Carolina. When you look at North Carolina, he has a 129,000 vote lead in North Carolina. 86% of the votes are in. Remember, he spent a lot of time in North Carolina in the closing days. I'd be very curious to see what those large black counties in East North Carolina looked at when it came to turnout. And so that's North Carolina. When we look at, let me go to Michigan here to see where we stand with Michigan. And again, we're waiting on that. Michigan is showing Trump with a 42, it's showing him with a with a lead there at 50.9 to 47.4. But again, we're 28% of the votes in, so we're waiting to see what happens with Detroit, Lansing, Flint, in those counties right there. Trump is up in Pennsylvania by 67% of the vote is in Pennsylvania. He's up, according to the New York Times, by about 90,000 votes in Pennsylvania. So again, we're waiting to see what counties are outstanding. Here's what it actually hasn't come up tonight, and I was very interested it hasn't come up. America still hasn't elected a woman.
Yep. No.
And the fact of the matter is, again, this feels similar to 2016.
No, it doesn't.
Excuse me. Let me finish the point. This is still a nation that you have to crack a glass ceiling, and it was not going to be easy for a woman to win the presidency in this country.
We have
not to mention a woman
One second.
We have,
hold on.
I agree. We have baked in misogyny within this country, and we're seeing it here with VP
Men and women.
Men and women. They're not responding in the way that we thought that they would. Harris came out and did everything that she absolutely could.
So everybody can hear you talking. Just hold on. Please finish your point.
Harris went out and did absolutely everything that she could in these past 100 days, and it's still showing up like it wasn't enough. She didn't call people deplorable, so she didn't have the Hillary Clinton problem. She tried to appeal. She didn't run on identity politics. She didn't come out there and say, I'm black, I'm a woman, I'm an AKA. That's not what she ran on. She ran on, I'm going to be a president for everyone. She put out Project 2025. She showed Agenda 47. She talked about Trump, mass deportations of people, and it still feels like it's not enough. So the question is, when is it going to be enough? When is America going to be ready to elect a woman?
Well, not my lifetime. It's not my lifetime.
I hope it has to be. It has to be.
Mignon.
I'm very so. Oh God, I'm really having a breakdown right now. I'm very serious because this election, I don't care about this whole race thing. I don't care about this fucking like gender thing.
It's a gender.
No, listen. This is an existential threat to all of us. And the fact that we're sitting here having this conversation right now is terrifying. Right. And we're sitting here talking about it as if it's some sort of intellectual debate or discussion. We are falling fucking apart right now. And this is terrifying. And I'm literally thinking about the collective trauma that's occurring across the nation right now, not just with deeply entrenched racists that are going to be running around here with God knows what pretty soon. But on top of it, the people that have lost faith, we have rates of suicide amongst young people that are growing exponentially, right? We have some serious shit that we have to fix as a result of this election. And I am terrified to think about what's going to happen in the next couple of months, not for myself, but for what happens around us. Are we prepared for that?
I hear you. I hear you, and I sympathize. I'm part of it. You know, we're all going through it right now. I feel like I went through this even worse, where I had suicide check-ins in 2016. I worked for Hillary Clinton. We can talk about race, but at the end of the day, it's about being a woman. And that wasn't enough. And then we have Kamala, which I heard a lot of, they like her personality and she's giving and so forth. But at the end of the day, she's still a woman.
Anybody who votes for Trump, I'm not going to call them idiot because that's not nice, and I told y'all I'm not trying to cuss. But let's be real. He is making money. This election has become an income generator for him.
Finish.
Okay, the point again is we don't understand the nature of capitalism. We think that it's a good thing. We think that winning is good, but we don't understand what losing looks like.
Hey, again, what I say earlier, people are freaking out.
As they
right
should
now,
I did.
There's no red. Listen, right now, there's no red state that Trump won in 2020 that hasn't flipped. Right now, there's no blue state that Biden won in 2020 that hasn't flipped. The reality is this here. Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada. The 7 battleground states that we started the night off with, that we've known for the past year, we're going to decide this election, have not been decided. So they are what they are. I'm going to go. I literally, somebody sent me, Rose, not looking good. I'm like, yo, the night ain't over. So like, it ain't over. No, I'll tell you why.
Fuck the
feelings. Let's look at the facts. One second. No, one second.
Understand what he's getting
because people kept expecting a landslide.
Yeah.
No. Everybody, yes, they did. No, Brianna, wrong. Here's what happened. Here's what happened. Folks are like, oh my God, she's the most accomplished.
No.
Oh my God, look at this campaign.
Easy.
Oh my God, this man is crazy. And while all that was happening, I kept saying repeatedly, yo, he is still,
1%.
I kept saying to people,
He is a predatory capitalist.
listen, it doesn't matter. This is the equivalent of looking on paper and go, oh, this team is gonna win a Super Bowl in the blowout. You still gotta fucking play the game.
Yeah.
And the reality is this here. I just said it. No red state that he won in 2020 has flipped. So this idea that it was gonna be a landslide, it was crazy. It wasn't.
The thing is this, right?
He won in 2016 by 77,000 votes.
Right.
Where, I'm telling you, all these people, and it's because folks are like, oh my God, look at this. This is gonna be a blowout. I'm sitting here going, no, it's not.
It's
not gonna be a blowout.
It was
But
never
again,
gonna be a
though,
blowout.
But then we have the Anselser poll out of Iowa.
I'm telling you, people, folks were so locked and low. Listen, I had to deal with people every single day. Okay, the last poll, oh my goodness.
Right.
National polls, about 4. I'm like, elections are not national.
Right.
Elections are states. Right. What are we doing? Stop looking at the damn poll. Don't look at national polls. Look at state polls.
Most of the Republican counties at this point, and Pennsylvania, Georgia as well, are literally maxed out. There's nothing else to be reported there.
Right.
All that's left to come in are from in Pennsylvania, Philly and the collar counties, and Georgia, the blue counties, and Michigan, Detroit is still trickling in. Wisconsin, there's still huge upside in Milwaukee and Dane County. I just got a memo from the campaign just now, outlined. So the thing is this, right? Everybody, calm your fucking nerves. I'm sorry for saying the F word in the show, Roland.
First of all, that's why we got a full bar over there.
And I'm
so,
I don't drink.
If some of y'all, listen, Eugene, I don't drink either. But some of y'all need to go get some brown liquor. Not champagne, brown liquor.
This is the thing, right? This is the thing. But what I need all y'all to do is tone this shit the fuck down a little bit. Now, hold on. Because the thing is this. For a second. Because the anxiety level, I agree with you.
He gonna talk when I stop him.
The anxiety level
I got it. Just everybody
it's high right now because you have.
It's still 11-11. So we going to a break. Most of them gonna get their ass a drink. Eugene gonna get some more water with some ice. And we'll be back on the Black Star Network. Vice President Kamala Harris is going to be coming out soon to address the audience. Moments ago, Jen O'Malley Dillon, who is the campaign chair for the Harris for President campaign, sent this memo out to the staff and was shared with the public. Go to my iPad. She said, team, as polls close across the country, I want to give everyone an update on what we're seeing. As we have known all along, this is a razor-thin race. We have known all along that our clearest path to 270 electoral votes lies through the blue wall states, and we feel good about what we're seeing. That's why, folks, in a moment, Vice President Kamala Harris is going to be coming out addressing the public. Now, remember, the strategy of the Trump campaign always was to claim victory on Tuesday night. That's what they tried to do 4 years ago. But as you had Jen O'Malley Dillon said, it's a lot of votes to count. And so there are way too many variables here. So let me remind everybody again, there has not been a single red state in 2020 that changed in 2024. There's not been a single state that Biden won in 2020 that has not changed in 2024. So this election still comes down to 7 states. So folks, It doesn't matter if you win by 100,000 votes or you win by 1,000 votes. You win. It doesn't matter if you get to 270 or you get to 350. 270 is all that you need. So literally, all of y'all, go get a damn drink, calm your asses down, go heat some food up, turn some music on, and chill your asses out. Again, they should have put that up on a big screen so all the people who are at Howard can hear what I just said so they can relax and chill because it's going to be a long night.
We got a notice more than 5 minutes ago saying that we were all going to be asked to turn our lights out in a matter of minutes. So that may be a signal that Vice President Harris is set to take the stage in a day. I do have to tell you, it seems like the sort of energy level has dropped in the last maybe hour or so since we were talking to you. Now, I do want to say that organizers have had the television screens tuned into CNN and to local news following various results that have been coming in, not only here, but across the country. So is that a reason because the DJ was no longer with us? Or is it because people's minds have been changing about what's going on here tonight? I certainly can't predict that. There's no way I can tell. But I did get to go into the crowd to talk to people a little bit about how they were feeling. I spoke to a father and son team who said they were still very bullish on Kamala Harris. A woman next to them basically said that she was cautiously optimistic. As you just mentioned about this memo that came from the Harris team, they sent out a memo not too long ago, as you said, saying that these returns are coming in slowly. This is something that they anticipated for quite some time, but that they still see a path to 270. But information on that might not come tonight. So the big question now is supporters here waiting to see if she is going to take the stage. Right now, we have a fairly quiet crowd here at Howard University. The DNC, this is sort of being billed as a watch party, and it has been a party up until this point. We've had DJs, we've had entertainment. I have to tell you, Roland, this is feeling a lot to me like 2016. And again, I am not a predictor. I am not saying who is going to win either way. I'm just saying that the night air is sort of feeling a little bit like that to me, but Roland, it's going to be a long night.
The reason I won't say is like 2016 because the numbers were also a lot different. I just think that, again, I think for a lot of people, they forgot the fact that the last 5 elections have been tight. And so that's what this is all about. So it's clear the Harris campaign is saying, listen, we're seeing the numbers. We know what the path to victory is, what they are hoping. And they've always hoped this because when you look at, again, the numbers, when you talk about an electoral college number, when Michigan stays blue, you're at 247. Let's say Wisconsin goes blue, you're at 257. And then let's say Georgia goes blue, you're at 273. They can lose Pennsylvania. It can go to Trump. They win Georgia. They win the presidency. What the Harris campaign is looking at right now is they're saying, hey, we could win Georgia. The numbers are there. The votes are there. We could actually win Georgia. Win Georgia, it's a sigh of relief. Now you go, all right, you got to lock down Wisconsin and Michigan and lose Pennsylvania, or win Pennsylvania and lose one of those. And so that's just what it is. It just comes down to it. And I'm saying to people, if you look at this map, so all right, let's play with the map again. Let's say Trump wins Wisconsin. Let's say Harris wins Arizona. She's at 274. Pennsylvania still doesn't factor. And so that's why I'm telling everybody who's at Howard, I'm telling everybody in this studio, I'm telling everybody who's watching, y'all gonna make me cuss in a second, but I'm literally saying, calm the hell down. This is about math. It's about math. And so folk need to relax and chill out. So you got these right-wingers who are in our chat, and y'all might want to calm down because I'm going to start blocking y'all asses, who are like, Trump, Trump, Trump. So the election is not over. And so I think, again, people came there thinking, oh, we're going to come here, and then by, what I don't understand is, why in the hell they turn the music off? Why did they stop? I mean, hell, they're creating a somber damn mood there. I'm looking at all these people's faces and everything, and again, matter of fact, and I just sent Tatiana, I just sent the campaign a text message. I said, y'all should turn off them damn screens from CNN and put on the Black Star Network so they can hear somebody tell them to chill out and calm down. But it is interesting that people are freaking out there, and so we shall see what happens. And so we're looking at, again, the numbers. Everything is numbers that are coming out. And so as we continue to go through here and look at various election breakdowns, the New York Times on their website, again, if I go to Michigan, what they're showing right now is less than 100,000, so 39%. This is according to, again, the New York Times. 39% of the votes counted in Michigan. Trump leads less than 100,000 at 39% coming in. And so, again, the question then becomes, what are the outstanding counties? What are those blue counties? Now, let me go over to Georgia. In Georgia, you see here little more than 100,000, but it says 95% of the votes are in. Now, that could change very quickly when it comes to those, those counties in Georgia. Say it again? Virginia. We've been called that. Monique over here talking about Virginia. Like, shall we call that an hour and a half ago? And again, it comes down to what we've always known, what is called the blue wall. And so when you go to Michigan, again, you see right here, the lead is slightly more, about 115,000 for Trump in Michigan. 40% of the vote is in. So we're watching that. Wisconsin is extremely tight. He's leading by less than 80,000. So when you look at, we're still waiting to see Vice President Kamala Harris coming out on the stage at Howard University to speak to the audience there. And again, so all of these folks who keep saying that these races have been called, no, these races have not been called. There's only been one entity that's called North Carolina and Georgia for Trump. Others have not done so because they're looking at the numbers that are outstanding. And so that's what we're looking at as well. And so you have estimates out there based upon what's leaning, but bottom line is you got to wait till all the votes get counted in. So again, this is what's happening at Howard University. Vice President Kamala Harris, let's go to Howard University, get a shot there. So you're seeing shots of the folks there. Of course, anxiously waiting for these results, waiting for the VP to come out and address them as well. Let me see here if there have been any. Folks are saying that some races have been called, so let me check and see what's going on here. 1 second. Let me double check what's going on. Now, the Associated Press, they are projecting that Donald Trump will win North Carolina. So the Associated Press is projecting that. And so CNN is also projecting that Donald Trump will win North Carolina. So you could take, so if we go back to our 270 to win map, you can actually, put North Carolina in the red column for Donald Trump. We'll then look at that, and so let you know. So again, we're checking to see what the projections are of where we're going. And so you see what these numbers are right here. Now, they gave the 5-minute, actually that's probably about 20 minutes ago, for the vice president. But you know what happens if you don't bring the seal out that's when you know she's about to come out, when they bring the seal and put it on the podium. Well, I saw a podium shot, and that seal is not on the podium. So that's what's going on there. Let's go back to Tatiana. Tatiana, did they turn the music back on? Well, let's get Tatiana back, y'all. I'm curious to know, did they turn the music back on? Did somebody wake the DJ up? The DJ go to the bathroom and come back? What happened?
They did. They turned the music back on. They had some Tupac, obviously from California. Kamala Harris representing California very strong. We see the lights on the stage. If you can see behind me, they started sort of pulsating back and forth. Another sign that there is some activity that's about to happen here. But the crowd here waiting for Kamala Harris to come out. That has been the expectation all evening, that she would address her supporters. The people here obviously hoping that her address would include some sort of acknowledgement that she has in fact won, but that's not what's happening right now. Again, you mentioned that communication coming from the Harris team saying that it is a slow path. They are still able to see a path to 270. It's not happening at, what time is it? 11:48. I don't have my glasses on. Eastern Standard Time here. But it is about that time, and that's what people are waiting for. But you can't see the crowds like I can, but people are sort of just standing, a couple of flags waving, but not the dancing, not the revelry that there was earlier on in the evening. And in fairness, it has been a long night. I mean, we got here at 4 p.m. Eastern. The crowds here coming in maybe an hour or two after that. They have been standing on their feet this whole time in support of Vice President Kamala Harris. They are no doubt at least physically tired and likely a little bit mentally tired from waiting to see the results and to see these polls close across the country. But right now, still lights pulsating across the stage, DJ going strong, waking the crowd up, guys standing in the doorway. All signs point to something that will be happening soon, Roland. It's just not happening yet.
No, not happening yet, so we will see what happens. Let's do this here. We're going to go to a break. And you know, a lot of people are sitting here, making all sort of assumptions, things along those lines. And so if you listen to people who just making assumptions, who don't know anything about what we're talking about, I would suggest you ignore them because they are clueless. But I see a whole bunch of flag waving, not sure. Oh, gotcha. Okay, all right, cool. So they're showing on the map that she won Virginia. Well, that was like called a long time ago. So so I don't know why they're showing that so late. And so again, you're seeing what's happening right now. Again, Trump is still holding on to a 200,000 or so lead in Pennsylvania. You're seeing some of the other states. And again, at this point in the race, you would rather be up anywhere from 100 to 200,000 votes than be down. But it also depends on where those counties are. The reality is a number of Latinos, based upon various exit polls, shifted hard right.
Absolutely. And so what do you think your life is going to be as a black or brown immigrant coming to this country when white immigrants had a hard time coming to this country?
All due respect. F white immigrants. They basically screwed us. They might have been treated badly, but they weren't treated that badly. And
no, my point is...
No, but my point is, don't throw them in the mix with us.
I'm not. I'm just using a historical example.
Well, it's specious.
It's not, because I'm saying if it was bad for white people, what do you think it's going to look like for black and brown?
I don't give a F about white people at this point. I don't give an F about white people. I try not to cuss y'all. Y'all know I've been trying really hard all evening.
But you're coming at the point I'm not making.
No, I'm not missing your point.
Okay.
I'm not missing, with all due respect.
Okay.
I'm not missing your point at all. What I'm objecting to is throwing white folks in with the way that we've been treated.
No, I'm not doing that.
I object fact that white immigrants, they white. Whatever.
My point is...
Make your argument, please.
My point is, it was bad for them. What on earth do you think it's like for African immigrants and Latino immigrants? That is my...
Just, no, Julian, let her make her point.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Nola, finish.
I think you have...
This person says 3 sources close to Harris are expressing concern that Harris's path to victory may be too narrow to overcome. One source at the Harris Friends and Family Party says, quote, her path is so narrow and she is not doing what she needs to do in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. The exit polls I saw hours ago are all accurate. They need to subtly outperform those. Don't believe that will happen. Asked about this, a second source close to Harris told me, I 100% agree, the path to victory is very difficult. His numbers are higher than expected in counties where he should be losing by larger margins in Pennsylvania and Michigan. A third source close to the campaign said, I think we're losing this. Now, why am I saying that? Inflation is high, food is high, gas is high, all this stuff is high. Trump was so much better when he literally was the one who killed it. And Biden-Harris repairs this economy. So in many ways, this to me feels like, the reason why it feels like 2016, in that Democrats inherit an awful economy, fix it, put it on the path of recovery, and then America rewards Republicans thinking they're going to make it better. They kill the economy, and then Democrats fix it. Oh, well, let's go back to the person who killed it. We think that businessman who filed bankruptcy 6 times can actually fix it. And then when you look at what the numbers look like, you're like, well, what the hell were y'all thinking?
It feels like 2016 for me because whiteness is on the ballot again. There is an inherent value. There is a quantitative and qualitative value of being white in this country. So in 2020, whiteness as a concept wasn't on the ballot because it was 2 old white men.
Yep.
This year is a black...
But whiteness and gender wasn't on the ballot.
Absolutely. So this year it is a black South Asian woman that's on the ballot. In 2016, it was a white woman on the ballot, but it was a white woman on the ballot who was casting her lot with the Negroes, right? That's fully don't understand the backbone of whiteness and its inherent value in this country, the premium value that someone is assumed smarter than what their mediocre self actually is because they're white, because there is a intellectualism in whiteness, right?
I mean, what we know is that there would be no America were it not for black labor. What we know is there would be no White House were it not for black labor. There would be nothing were it not for black labor. There would not be a thriving South without black labor. And so we don't need to continue to repeat their tropes. We need to rewrite the story.
But what they don't seem to understand is that to white people, we're all immigrants unless you're white, okay? So they don't care how many felony convictions he has. They don't care he tried to overthrow the government, anything like that. They're saying this is our guy because he's going to protect us from these other people who are eating dogs and cats or whatever he's saying. We're going to go with that. If they're concerned about economics, then they will vote for Vice President Kamala Harris, okay? But they're using that. They're using economics as a cover to really vote for white supremacy and vote for Donald Trump. Okay.
The Trump campaign feels very good about Pennsylvania. Why? They're slicing into dim margins in Philly with voters of color and workers. Trump is poised to flip Center County home to State College because the Joe Rogan effect among young men. Strong performance in collar counties, Philly suburbs, and a silent Harris woman vote not panning out. No, but I sit here and I'm like, how exactly does a working class voter vote for a party that literally passes laws that do not help them?
Well, it does help them, doesn't it? In the one way that matters, whiteness. Whiteness is a terminal disease. This country will break apart. I, for one, am looking forward to it, because some debts are blood debts. John Clark used to say, when blood calls blood, somehow blood always answers. White women are answering the call today. They're willing to sacrifice their autonomy for us. They're willing to sacrifice that if it means that their whiteness will be preserved. William Barber, it failed in the late 19th century because the goddamn crackers went to the poor whites and said, we won't give you a job, but we'll make sure that the niggers ride in the back of the train. And they said, okay. Donald Trump, convicted felon, sexual assault. His brain has leaked out of his ears in full public view over the last 4 years, and over the last 6 months, it's become an embarrassment to anybody who thinks rationally. But whiteness is not rational. We don't know what's going to happen. Kamala Harris may very well pull this out, although the path is narrow. And the lemmings, marching forward to their demise, will say, I would rather die than give up my whiteness.
I mean, Mustafa, here's why this is hilarious.
You know, I was thinking about my granddaddy. He used to say, white folks gonna be white folks
No
until
question.
they are.
My mama said the same thing. White folks gonna do what they want to exactly.
And I was hearing him whisper in my ear as we're going through the night.
Well, y'all had a conversation. I'll be right back. Yeah, I'm a multitasker.
All right, yeah, that's true. Well, let's keep going. So, all right, so who thinks she's gonna win?
I'm praying. All I'm doing is praying.
Let's just cut to the chase.
Let's cut right to the chase.
Can we just go back to
Here's the thing.
Well, no, go ahead. Well, we go back to 2020. Well, go ahead, Mike. And then, first of all, let me just say this for the record.
Okay.
Fuck the New York Times. All right, go ahead. You can say AP. AP's maps are better, by the way.
Yeah, okay.
The New York Times can go to hell.
Yeah, but
and forever.
That'll put. So
there's still a chance.
It's actually about 88. The story of the evening is Latino voters voting for a person who has announced that he wants to mass deport Latinos.
Absolutely.
That's what the story of the evening. The story of the evening
Absolutely.
is that group apparently paid no attention to his rallies, where he, of course, vilifies them at every turn.
He did
But when he
everything
came down that
right?
escalator in 2016, what did he say? They're rapists and murderers.
Mexican.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
We knew from the start what his views are about that
We know
group.
what he is.
And guns, God, engaged, right? They did the thing with, it's the same old thing, over and over again.
Sure.
Right? They did the thing with trans, it worked. The Democrats had no answer. Democrats have no answer because the LGBT lobby gives them a lot of money to say nothing in these moments.
Yeah.
And they said nothing in that moment.
And there's a lot of tolerance.
And they lost.
Which doesn't work in this society.
Right. And so
Something's about to happen.
It's not like we support.
Cedric Richmond is about to announce that VP isn't speaking.
They keep saying that.
Is that what you're hearing?
That's on Twitter. That was
give
on
us
Twitter
They kept
about
saying
10
that.
minutes ago that VP Harris won't be speaking at Howard University tonight.
You've been in Richmond. There he is at the podium in front of Douglas Hall. He's speaking.
We still have states that have not been called yet. We will continue overnight to fight to make sure that every vote is counted, that every voice has spoken. So you won't hear from the Vice President tonight, but you will hear from her tomorrow. And go HU and go Harris. Thank you all.
I am here. Yes, we just heard Cedric Richmond, Harris campaign co-chair, come out and do what I'm going to go ahead and call a John Podesta moment from 2016, where he asked us to sort of go home and wait to see what is going to happen next. And certainly, as you have been talking about all night, Roland, this does take a long time. With a race this tight, with implications this severe, this was likely not something we were going to find out tonight. It's going to happen overnight. It's going to happen in the next couple of days. But I was sort of feeling this kind of energy earlier, and sure enough, this is just what happened. The crowd here streaming out. I've never seen a crowd of people leave as quick as I'm watching them leave now. But again, they have been dedicated supporters of Kamala Harris. They have been here all night, hoping to hear positive news from her on her presidential race against former President Donald Trump. But what they have just heard is that it's going to take more time. And again, we will just have to watch. We will have to wait. There's no telling what happens, Roland.
So there's no way for us to know how this will unfold tomorrow.
This is just a watch. This is a wait. And we'll see what's going to happen. But the answers are not coming tonight, or rather this morning.
All right, y'all, so we return. Certainly probably no surprise there.
Yeah. And we know that our path is more narrow, and that doesn't look the way we want it to look. But the bigger question is this, and this is what I've always asked as a reflective, praying person, will the grace run out? See, for a long time, this country...
Yes. You mean for the United States?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, they never had grace.
For a long time. Well, we had grace, and that's why we're standing here, whether we should be or not.
Who is we?
We breathe.
As a country.
We sitting here.
Are we
talking about black grace?
Are we talking about black grace or white grace? We're talking about something that allowed this country to limp along despite itself for the last 200 years.
That was just give us a sense of what the House tally is.
So it's looking like, based upon the projections right now, it looks like Democrats will take the House. Hakeem Jeffries will become the first black Speaker of the House. So what that means is that Democrats control the House. They can thwart a legislative agenda of MAGA. I saw a report. Ted Cruz was +6 with Latinos. When he lost to Beto O'Rourke, he was -29. That's a 35-point shift.
That's what Lauren was talking about.
A 35-point shift.
Ridiculous.
All of these stories for 2.5 months was on black men.
Yes.
What nobody talking about the Latino vote.
Hello.
Your thoughts?
And I guess that's maybe one of the reasons why I have a ridiculous amount of peace. I knew it would be hard. I knew it was close. I know this country has a woman problem, and then we dare do a black woman. And I'm just saying woman because to me, black, brown don't matter because we have a woman problem, right? And so,
of course.
None of this is, I mean, I don't know where we are right now, but for the people who are watching, we are in the United States of America where the bondages of slavery and the vestiges of slavery are still here, and we have no reparations. And even if we had reparations, it could not repair the breach. That's where we live.
So let me one second. Several different media outlets are now saying that Georgia has gone to Donald Trump. Go to my iPad. With 50.9% of the vote to 48.4%. Looks like he will win Georgia by about 127,000 votes, which now means that the path for Harris narrows. There are now 5 battleground states left, and that is Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and then, of course, Arizona and Nevada. So if she wins Nevada, Arizona, she's sitting at 243. He's sitting 251. There you
go. And she's got to win 2 of those 3, right?
If he wins Pennsylvania, he gets 270.
No question.
So even if she wins Nevada, Arizona, Pennsylvania takes him to 270.
She wins
Pennsylvania. If she wins, if Philadelphia comes in, Pennsylvania takes her to 262. So she has to win. You win Pennsylvania, it's 19 electoral college votes. Then you got Wisconsin, Michigan. You win one of those, you win.
Okay.
So the bottom line is, he wins Pennsylvania. Again, that's if she wins Nevada, Arizona.
Right.
Okay. So the bottom line is, let's just.
But at the end of the day, I will just say this. I think somebody should say this. I think that the vice president did a really good job. She actually surprised me a few times. I think she overperformed in terms of her stamina, her spirit out there, the energy, the whole thing. The way this campaign was put together, this was 103 days. Absolutely. They're going to try to dismantle parts of the government.
That's right.
And it does look like the House is going to go for the Democrats. That is a difficult situation because the House does not control everything, but they do control the purse.
Trump, if the numbers stay where they are, and again, Republicans are literally saying they could take all 5 battleground states.
Right. Which is actually possible.
What it says is that this country, or little more than half of the country, didn't give a shit that the man tried to overthrow the election.
Right. That's right.
No.
That's right.
The fact
They're reveling in it.
And
Democrats
so
are famous for making mistakes.
Right.
Democrats do not play ruthless.
That's right.
I mean, Democrats always try to be smart, or not smart, try to be nice.
Yep.
We want to follow the Constitution.
Yep.
But these other people do not follow the Constitution. We want the rule of law, but they don't care about the rule of law.
Yep.
And so we get screwed as Democrats again and again and again. And it wouldn't be bad if we were just screwed, but we're all screwed. Like America is screwed.
So I'm back at Pennsylvania. 93% of the votes in Pennsylvania. It's showing a 224,000 vote lead.
7% of the vote. Can she make that up?
Don't know.
It's going to be hard. Like, when you look at Georgia, there's been a lot of voter purges that's happened since 2020. When you look at Wisconsin, there's been voter purges, so where there's been hundreds of thousands of people removed from the polling, from the vote rolls. Is white people are being told to go vote. We're the only communities being told not to vote.
How about that?
But you know what? I
Clearly the
maintain
economy
optimism
is what happened.
Even though whether she wins or not, what her candidacy has done is it's taken us a very long way. When you talk about a woman of color as the presidential nominee, that's taken us a very long way. If she has a very narrow loss, it suggests something about potential. I'm not anxious at all.
Not at all.
I'm not disturbed. I know where I live in these United States of America.
Exactly.
I know I've been living here all this time.
Exactly.
And I don't like it. But as Monique says, you know, it's a choice. I could sell my spit and take my happy behind to Ghana, and it would be a happy behind too, because I love it over there. But anyway,
again, I think that I think what people have to grapple with is people made voting decisions that were utterly delusional.
Well, remember, misinfo and disinfo. Remember.
No, I got that. But
what happened tonight in America based upon rational choice theory.
Exactly.
And I don't think there's anything rational with how people voted.
There's the point.
I don't.
All he said it was a bad economy. He made no specific points.
No, he didn't. He said nothing.
Right, nothing.
but both of them claim they
This man has
lower
untreated
inflation.
syphilis.
But nobody,
He said nothing.
no president can quote lower inflation.
Who makes that person accountable? The media. Who effed up this entire time? The New York Times, the two so-called papers of record, the Washington Post that was too cowardly to do a damn endorsement, and the New York Times was always soft-playing Donald Trump the entire time. So who makes people accountable on exactly what you just said? His vagueness, his craziness, his lunacy. They're not doing it. And then you got Elon Musk owning a platform that's feeding these people misinformation all the time. And frankly, the low information voter thing, we got most people in this country never went to college. They never went to college. That's a rare thing. Then they're thinking, you know what? It can't get any worse than this. Let's blow this thing up. Which is why they vote for Trump.
Wait, go ahead.
I was in LA a couple of weeks ago, and at the train station, and this sister asked me to move my stuff. I spread out, and we started talking, and she was telling me that Kamala was a communist, and I said, "Where did you hear that?" She said, "On TV." I said, so I asked her. I said, "Well, what?" She said, "Don't you watch the news?" I said, "I do." She said, "What do you watch?" I said, "MSNBC, CNN, and Roland." I said, "What you watch?" She said, "Fox." And she said, Tucker Carlson said that she was a communist. I said, "And you believe that?" Blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And she said, "Well, why would he say it if it wasn't true?"
Oh, Jesus.
And and she was adamant. I mean, I was praying for my friends to come because I didn't want to have to cuss the lady out because I didn't know her.
Yeah.
As I was waiting for my friends to come pick me up. But she was absolutely adamant. She even said, "If you're going to have an attitude, I'll move." I'm like, "See ya."
It's a white woman?
Wouldn't want to be ya.
It's a white woman?
No, this was a sister.
Oh.
This was a woman. She had white hair.
So you assume that she's perhaps receives some form of government benefits?
Greg.
From the fact that she went to the...
Black people in South Carolina said, which white man can beat that white man.
Which is old race logic.
If you go, it was black people sat there and went, all right, this is a white supremacist, crazy, deranged, who can beat him? And they were like,
Joe. Because that's what I said.
this white man right here. And this is what people I think kept missing. It kept missing with the black voters in South Carolina. Black people ain't stupid.
They're pragmatic.
Black folk go, we know white people.
Right.
And we know which white people can beat white people. And so now you begin to ask, okay, what actually was at play here? Donald Trump brings this, I want to burn this whole shit down mentality. People go, I want to burn this whole shit down too.
Yeah, right.
Not realizing he actually doesn't want to burn it down.
Yeah.
His whole deal is, I'm about to hook up all my boys and everybody's rich.
No question.
And that means that they're not going to vote for an ambiguously black woman with a Jewish man for a husband with no children, who is on her, it's a very late first marriage, who also has allegations of infidelity with Willie Brown. Like,
I also think we shouldn't forget the fact that this was a 103-day campaign.
Absolutely.
That she was thrown into. That she was thrown into. That's a really difficult situation for anybody. In a tough situation because Biden's staff didn't tell us what his situation was. And we found out at a debate, Roland, we found out on live TV that, oh man, this guy can't run. We did. We found out for the first time that this guy can't handle it.
We all knew
we
this
kind of knew
for the last 2 years.
But that moment was the moment.
Let's keep it real.
We knew 77 plus 4 was 81.
Stop. Wait.
At the Christmas party.
No, stop. No, stop.
Did we know at the Christmas party?
No, wait. No.
That's funny.
No, we knew.
Yeah.
They didn't know.
Right.
So why didn't it matter that Donald Trump, who is clearly mentally unwell, who performed fellatio on a microphone last week?
And was pooping on himself with a diaper.
Exactly.
Here's why. Here's why. Because even with all that said, he looked energetic.
And then we have to just be honest also about white privilege.
Yes.
And that it has a certain cachet that still comes with it. And
it looks like Democrats are going to control the House. So therefore, Jeffries will become the first black Speaker of the House.
My goodness.
That's great.
My goodness.
There will be they will be able to stop a MAGA agenda. You can't get it past the House. It can't go to the Senate and get passed.
Right.
But you are going to see significant damage still being done. I'll say this here. He lied about it. He denied it. But I'm telling you right now, Joe, folk like you are going to be real busy when these federal workers get fired because they don't sign a MAGA pledge.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we're going to fight a civil war, then damn it, let's fight one. I'm not talking about a hot civil war, but a cold civil war with a different logic. And we'll see how much they believe in this world they claim they want when we embrace it. It'll be like the Second Amendment. And by the way, everybody get their strap. Well, let's see how much you like that. No, I'm serious. It is your right, isn't it? I'm very serious about this.
First of all,
yeah, right. Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
First of all, everybody got to remember, after Trump won last time, fucking black gun ownership went up.
Come on. Responsible black gun ownership.
That was
legal gun ownership.
So this is one of those moments where I think black folks might say, fuck it.
Exactly.
This the shit y'all want?
It's what you want?
All right. Black folks like, all right. All y'all broke ass white people. All y'all Latinos, all y'all Muslims. Y'all can have this shit.
I think we were already there.
Wait. And I'm just saying, I'm telling everybody right now, y'all already know the meme that was created when I was at TV1. Hashtag we tried to tell you. I'm telling you right now, when the shit go down, we're going to be saying, we tried to tell you.
But how do you grapple with what Erica?
Zapata County in Texas, along the Rio Grande in South Texas, went 71-28 for Obama. And it went 61-39 for Trump.
Sexism.
So, no, it's not.
People think they're white.
Yeah.
They do not view themselves as minorities.
There you go.
Come on, Charlene. Come on.
They do not view themselves as minorities.
We.
That's what the Second Amendment.
We as black people. Come on. The reality is, we as black people, we have always saved this country.
Every time.
But again, to your point,
I
as
don't
far
know.
as saving it, I personally am tired because if you think that I'm going back out on Black Lives Matter Street in a pussy hat like these people did in 2020, you got another thing coming. Because I didn't do it then. There were a lot of us wearing the pussy hats.
There you go. And NBC is calling Pennsylvania for Donald Trump. That puts him over 270. And that's why the right is celebrating. The point we're just making, and y'all already know, I will never use the word president with his ass. Even when I met his ass, I wouldn't use it. I would not use it.
For now.
No, ain't no for now.
No,
I ain't calling his ass that. If it's one thing that Democrats are excellent at, and that is, it's fretting, it's freaking out, it's and all that sort of stuff like that. But there has to be a reckoning.
All right.
Yes, sir.
And when we say a reckoning,
yes, sir,
I think it has to be a really, really hardcore, deep reckoning. This thing is going to continue. This is a reality. In the last 3 cycles, Dems ignored what was happening with Latinos. How many media executives tonight
Oh, they're salivating.
are elated with this election result?
And journalists. You know how many journalists? You know how many journalists got famous over Donald Trump? Because the way they ran the White House.
Wait.
You know how many journalists did books, got famous, made money off of Donald Trump? They're loving the fact that Donald Trump is
I'm telling you right now.
But see, I'm going to say this, Roland.
The reason the media, these media folks,
they want this.
They are
want
like,
him.
we are about to have a shit show every
single day.
So what about
what I want to say is what happened tonight, I can't think about in the abstract. I think about a lot of my colleagues who are scared right now about their job security, who have been in the government for a very long time, and they won't know what's going to happen comes January. Well, they do, you know. People do know what's coming. It's going to be very real pain felt by a lot of people that look like us in this room. It's not an abstract thing. It's not an abstract thing like, you effed around and now you about to find out. We about to find out too. Some of us sitting in this room.
No question.
You know, the pain will be felt, especially those of us that are outspoken, that have stood 10 toes down and put it all out there on the line. So the pain will be felt. Last thing I will say, this has set white supremacy up in a way in this country that will be felt for a very long time. Yes. That is what won tonight. And then I don't know what the next steps are. I know personally, I need to take a few days. This is a lot.
Sure.
I need to take a few days. It's a lot. And then
this is a different MAGA that we've never seen before. This is not the same MAGA.
No.
When they're talking about deportation and putting people in cages, they're not talking about just cages. They're talking about camps.
No
they're
question.
talking about internment camps.
No question.
So they are going to have to talk to the Latinos. They're going to have to talk to everyone. There is going to be a reckoning.
MAGA is a continuation of white supremacy that started before 1619 in this country. So that's why I said I recognize. Christianity, we talk about familiar spirits. We talk about things that are familiar. I know these familiar spirits, and my ancestors defeated it. So that is why.
What I'm saying is, we're talking about nuclear war.
Yeah.
We might be, we talking about domestic. I understand. Hey, I got to get up and sit down. But, we all going to be in the middle of some shit that nobody can walk back.
Here's why. The house is burning. I can go try to grab this fire hose. I can try to grab an extinguisher, or I might have to sit here and say, let it burn down. Let this shit burn. Because what's about, but again,
No,
and follow me here. You have to then allow other folk to go, you see that shit happen? Did we tell your ass, what you gonna do? No, this is where you have to live. But this is where you sit back and go,
yep.
No.
But I'm old enough to remember when some of those people were white.
There's some folk you got to sit here and go, oh, I ain't about to stand up.
But our common humanity, man, I mean, the story.
Sometimes you literally got to do this here.
You on your own.
So what do we do in a situation where, as we said,
Last 90 days, right? In the last 90 days when Vice President Harris embarked on this, you had, the Adam candidatures, the Denver Rigglemans, right? Two decorated, heroes of this country that just happen to be congressmen. Both Air Force, one, intelligence also. In a world where not one, but two Cheneys are supporting a Democrat, should have been the wake-up call that there is no more GOP. There's only MAGA.
That's literally what I wanted to say in the beginning.
There is literally only MAGA.
Yeah. So they actually had a primary, and that's what we're not really talking about. We didn't have a primary.
Let me finish. There's literally only MAGA. And when, my guys, and I say my guys as the Republicans for Harris, because we put it all on the line. We said, fuck it, we here. We understand the real threat. Wait.
You first.
We said, fuck it, we here, all right?
Yeah.
I agree. Let the motherfucker burn down. Where's the camera? Rand. We've been friends a long fucking time.
Oh, man.
I'm going to need you to get back to the core these next 2 years.
Lord have mercy.
I'm going to need Rand Paul to get back to his core this next 2 years. It may not happen.
Not gonna happen.
It's not going to happen.
Randy Paul.
But if there's any principle in that body, you cannot look at Donald Trump in the eye and allow the atrocities of civil liberties to be trampled on.
First of all,
you and Chris Christie?
They have no morals, no values, no principles, no ethics, no integrity. It's power.
And money.
And so what I'm saying is, so the reason I say you gotta let that inner party fight. Okay. So all y'all who want to kiss Trump's ass, all right, now you got your boy. Now they actually, again, first of all, the presidency has not been called, okay, but they about to fuck around and find out. And I'm saying sometimes you got to let some folk find out.
I got a question.
And knowing that this person is see, it's not even just about the vice president. It's the person she's running against is so unworthy. It's the lunatic she's running against. And they chose him over her.
Right. America has a history of completely ignoring somebody who's sane for someone who's insane.
Yeah, it's craziness.
And so they have fallen for the greatest lie. They literally believe this man is an economic genius when he can barely read.
They do not believe that.
They don't believe.
No.
Right. They know
so why do they
him
vote for him?
to be an idiot. They know he committed.
No, I'm asking you. So why do they vote for him?
I'm gonna say it one more time because it's all I can say. This is America.
Right.
Okay?
Wait.
And we have a woman problem.
Right. Thank you. I've been waiting.
And
We've been
if
saying
we know it's been proven, we have a woman problem.
We do.
It has been proven.
White women ain't never made
Greg, can I please just?
Yeah, and then we
I'm
can
gonna
walk
just
to
whatever. No, I don't really want you to teach me tonight. I just want to
Okay,
share.
hold on. Finish your point.
I just want to share.
No, go ahead.
Okay. The fact that we for real have only had these two major candidates, and obviously both Democrats, to ever even be in shouting distance of this job, and we are behind 59 other countries, right? We have a woman problem. But what I'm saying is we have a woman problem, okay? And what we also have in this country obviously, is a race problem.
Right.
But what we also have is a comfort problem. Because we're talking about everything the Dems need to, and this comes up every time. When everybody starts talking about the Dems need to do this, the Dems need to do that. And I say, what about us?
And it's starting already.
What about us?
Right.
What about us?
Right.
Because us marching to get the right to vote, like the answer to it was not to just vote and sit on our asses and belch. We were supposed to keep marching until we had all the shit you get when you march. So when we didn't get George Floyd, right? We were supposed to be beating the streets. When President Obama was disrespected as the first black president and did not get his Supreme Court pick, and it was stolen, which led to the very Roe v. Wade fight that we're fighting now. Instead of being pissed off because we didn't like his choice, we were supposed to hit the streets. When I'm having fights every day, like I struggled to convince people that talented, brilliant, educated, caring, non-felonious, sane, black and Asian woman was better than that degenerate. I had real fights in our community. When you look at how hard it is, y'all, we celebrating tonight because it's 2 black women in the Senate at the same time.
I know.
We clapping. Okay.
Latino men in 2020, Biden 59%, Trump 36%.
Right.
Latino men in 2024, Harris 45%, Trump 53%. A huge shift from D plus 23 to R plus 8.
And it's not the black part.
So Monique,
I'm just saying, and I'm not saying the black part isn't a problem.
But I do think, again, I know I've said it 4 times, it was an extraordinary situation that this vice president was put in when she had to run a 100-day race.
Yeah, but she did it really
I frankly
well,
think
though.
she did a really fucking good job.
They ran.
She raised $1 billion.
We can't blame it on that. We can't blame it on that. They ran a great campaign, and she was running against
But she had no idea in June that she was going to be running for president.
But it didn't matter.
And she's running for president.
Enough people knew enough about him where that would not matter.
Things to happen. First and foremost, I think Joe Biden should resign the presidency and make her president tomorrow.
Thank you.
Make her the actual 47th president of the United States. Secondly, I think that there's still something.
Still ain't gonna let that happen.
But secondly, there's something that's coming up that we haven't talked about. He's going to be sentenced in state court on 34 felony counts. So we could very well be looking at a situation between
Supreme Court.
Well, wait.
Supreme Court is going to.
Wait. Is the electors actually have to cast their ballots? Now, the electors are free to do what the fuck they want.
No,
they are.
Faithless electors.
They are. They are.
Independent state legislative theory is a
no. That's not where I'm going. That's not where I'm going. What I'm saying is this. You very well could have faithless electors that say, hey, I don't want a president that's going to be sitting in jail.
He's not going.
You're talking about constitutional crisis.
Okay. Yeah. So,
to your point about this being a women problem and a race problem, it is also a feelings problem. I feel like the economy is bad. I feel like Kamala Harris did a bad job as vice president, even though she has no power as vice president to do the presidential things because she's not president. I feel like women can't do the job. I feel. And that feeling has been metastasized by way of the First Amendment being abused, broken, and scorned. Right? So it's a feelings problem. And until we feel like Donald Trump is a bad person, until we feel like the GOP got me fucked up, until we feel like, hey, maybe the Democrats were right. Hey, maybe Roland is right. Maybe talking to myself, maybe I actually can do something about it.
And the other thing is, I'm not for saving these motherfuckers. Seriously. Because you voted for this son of a bitch. You voted for him. You about to, and some of us gonna have to leave. I got friends of mine talking about leaving the country, saying let this shit, the hell with this.
I would say there is no more Republican Party as of today. The Republican Party is now the MAGA Party. It's now the party of Elon Musk. It's the party of Donald Trump. It's going to survive long after Donald Trump. He now has an heir apparent in J.D. Vance. And long after that, he has Josh Hall. He has so many people now. And Gen Z and people like me have never known a regular Republican Party. We've never seen a Bush administration. We've never.
You know, we all left on the battlefield. We did the best we could. And, you know, we'd love to fight another day.
Lauren?
I'm praying for Vice President Kamala Devi Harris. We are not yet at calling this race, but she
Right
ran,
now it's at 267.
Yeah,
So,
the fact that someone like this could run and be running while convicted, running while degenerate, running while amoral, running while confused, you know, running while found liable as a rapist, says everything that needs to be said about the threat that we're under. So, because we promised you that this was not a drill, and now we indeed are about to find out.
Erica?
John 10:10 says the thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. That's the A part of it. And he's here. I've been very clear about who this person is. He is the son of a Klansman. He surrounded himself with such people. And to never forget who sold the robes of the Klan.
So echoing, thank you so much for the Bible verse, because I keep on saying all I can do is pray. And from the day before to today to tomorrow, that's all we can continue to do is pray. We do have a woman's problem. And I pray that one day we surpass it. Today might not be the day, and tomorrow may not be either. I know. Maybe we just care about our community. Maybe we start tomorrow just focusing on our issues. We stay black.
This country has codified race into our legal system.
Yes, Rebecca.
But I can't move past that this is still the fabric of white supremacy. Is in a country that's grappling with white supremacy, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican, you still are grappling with white supremacy. And if you are white and you are a Democrat, you have to do the work this time. I want, as a black woman, for me not to encounter weathering, which came out in a study a year and a half ago that says my internal cellular structure is deteriorating because of effing racism. So I say all that.
Tonight, if it bears out that she doesn't win this presidency, tonight she is facing the fact that this country could give a damn about the vision that she articulated, because for them, patriotism means white supremacy.
Absolutely.
And for us, it has always meant that that is our enemy. And I think we need to take heed of that and look forward and say everything everyone has said needs to be poured into our blackness and into our institutional formations. And we move forward and see what happens.
America has decided to align with other nations in electing far-right, crazed, deranged leaders. And what you have to understand is that, and I'm going to keep saying, is that this is white fear. This is absolute fear of the future changing of this country. So what you've seen tonight is this country has decided that, you know what, Trump, those are our values. In fact, he's actually poised to win the popular vote. When you look at states like New York, New Jersey, Harris barely wins those states. Lower margins than when Biden did. When you look at the numbers, look at what the country decided. The country's decided, we don't mind if you lead an insurrection. We're good. We don't mind if you steal classified documents and lie about it and don't return them. We're good. We don't mind if you cheat with your company. We're good, because you're going to bring back the good old days. It's going to be fabulous. The fact of the matter is, Trump inherits an economy fixed by Democrats, and he's going to immediately claim credit for all of it. He's going to say, oh, it came back all because I'm coming back. You better be scared to death when he literally lets Robert F. Kennedy be in control of science and health. Oh, you better bring back the mask and everything else, because it's about to be a lot more people who ain't vaccinated. And when polio comes back, and some of these other diseases that we conquered a long time ago come back, because you've got a crazed, deranged, anti-vaccine person in charge, well, there you go. You understand, all of the sane people you had before who served as guardrails, they won't be there. You truly are going to have a cabinet, an administration of zealots, of individuals who have no business holding on to power. And so America got what it wanted tonight, and America is going to get what it deserves. So when he drops his tariffs and all of y'all asses go broke, I don't want to hear shit. Because hashtag, we tried to tell you. Oh, by the way, when your ass start choking and your water tastes like crap, don't come holler at us. Oh, by the way, when your raggedy ass state go ask a fool with the education, please don't come holler at us. And again, all y'all white women who on birth control, don't come holler at us when this Supreme Court targets that too. And so for all of y'all who said, oh my God, the nation is on the wrong track, by all means, enjoy his inauguration. Dance in the aisle. Go dancing in the streets. But I'm going to tell you right now, ain't no way in hell you think we're going to be silent. There's no way in hell you think we going anywhere. And so y'all can play it cute. Oh, by the way, all of you working class people, oh, I can't wait till the corporations start laying your asses off. So y'all can enjoy your win, but I'm telling you right now, a lot of you who voted for Trump and you're rejoicing right now, there will be tears. And when the tears come shedding, you can't cry on our shoulders. And you can't come to say, I don't know how this happened. And all we gonna say is, we tried to tell you. But see, y'all know, I see all y'all right-wing people comment in the message section. And here's the whole deal. I appreciate all y'all running y'all mouths, because all y'all doing is making me money. Y'all do realize that.